Okay, you're live. So yeah, I can start. There is not much of an update from my side, other than I discovered the bucket in co-stats, which should be fixed now. It was about those that too quickly load the co-stats lib failed to initialize the pure connection, and so there were no co-statistics pushed, and it should be fixed now in the current Jitsi deployment. So next, George.
Yeah. So one thing we have identified an issue with macOS High Sierra and screen sharing. You might observe some green artifacts on your screen when you're at the receiver when you're receiving the screen share. So this is a bug in Chrome, and they're working on it as far as I know. Then we have finished send sideband estimations. They're in the code now. We want to evaluate how they perform. So and if it's like whether they have any impact, what improvement we have. We hope to have some improvement. So we're currently establishing a baseline performance by looking at the client-side implementation, how it performs, and we want to have at least on par performance with the client. So yeah, I've been taking some measurements and I've been doing some analysis, and that's mostly how I spent the last couple of weeks.
Thank you. Mobile, Lugo.
So we worked on porting the overlays that the web has for problems that allow the user to reload the conference. And that piece is now done. So the next step will be porting those features that we have on the web for the connectivity issues, probably, which is like grayscale thumbnails when someone is having connectivity issues and the like. Pavel, do you want to talk about your testing?
Yes, so we started efforts to add automated testing to mobile, and we're doing that through Appium. It can be used either to test it on your local devices or on Amazon Device Farm, for example. And so right now there's only basic test. We just joins the room and press the hang up button. But we're also working on hybrid tests with like web and mobile participants at the same time. Yeah, but that's still a work in progress. And other than that, we're looking into other issues on mobile when there is like slow network connection. There are a couple of problems there, and we're looking into that right now. And that's all from...
And those efforts will be focused, I guess, mostly on cellular data instead of Wi-Fi. And our newest member in the mobile team is Zoli. Zoli, do you want to talk about the work that you're doing?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So I'm right now working on two things. I guess both might be interesting for you guys. One is that a recent call list type of list on the welcome screen that will list the rooms that you joined recently, and you can rejoin with a touch. And the other is the settings page, where as an example, you can choose which Jitsi server you would like to join to, how you would like to start your call, like muted, video muted, and so on. So these things, these are in the pipeline.
Thank you very much, Dominic.
Thanks, Lugo. Brian? So you were cool.
Yeah, so I've been working on the FlexFec implementation on the receive side in the bridge. And as of Thursday last week, it looks like it was working. So now I'm just kind of going through a bunch of, I had to jump back and do a bunch of refactoring. So now there's just a bit of trickiness to getting all the PRs in. But I want to start getting all that done, and hopefully we'll get that in soon.
Thank you. Risto?
Do you hear me, guys, by the way?
Yes.
Great. So I was mostly working on the always on top feature. We have various issues and bugs there and improving some stuff. So that's probably all from me, yeah.
Thank you. Aaron?
Yeah, so in the last week, I worked with Damien on a bunch of the Jibri changes. So we tried to make some improvements to the way that Jibri errors occur, as well as some of the Jibri restarts. And we have some ideas for some more improvements for that as well. Also, we just moved Jitsi to latency-based routing rather than geo-based routing for our DNS. So that's going to be an experiment for a little while. So far, it looks like it's resolving just exactly the same as we had before, but we'll have to measure and see. I think that's it for us on infrastructure.
Thank you. I'm not missing anybody. Emil?
Nothing on my side.
So we're done. Open mic. Any questions, comments?
Hi, this is Jonas.
Hi.
Hi, Jonas.
Hi. Yeah, I'm not sure how many of you saw. We posted a bit on both the mail list and today also on GitHub on the user or on the video bridge repo about we have some issues with a screen sharing only scenario where we get into a freeze basically and just never able to recover.
I have just replied to Sergey, I think, right before the start of the call, and so I did try the first scenario that that you have described, and I was not able to reproduce the issue. However, the issue that you're describing reminds me a lot of the Chrome decoder sometimes is stalling, and it keeps sending the PLIs, the receiver gets them, and you can see that it gets them from the WebRTC internal page of the receiver, and it does send a keyframe, but for some reason the keyframe is being ignored at the receiver. We don't know, we haven't investigated why this happens. We just observed that this happens. Is this, do you think this is what you're hitting, or do you believe it's something else?
Maybe from our side, I think it looks like the sender is not really receiving the PLIs, or at least we see this line where it says it fails to unprotect them, which looks very suspicious. It also sort of corresponds to the number of PLIs that we think is sent. So yeah.
Have you checked whether the sender is receiving the PLIs in the WebRTC internals page?
Yeah, no. So they don't show up there. If you look in Chrome debug log, you see these lines of where it fails to unprotect SRTP packets.
Okay, and how reliably are you able to reproduce these?
Yeah, I think it's fairly consistent. So you need to run into some issue of some kind, right? But if you provoke it a bit, we quite often.
Okay.
Not entirely, we can say it's 100%, but it's very frequent.
Okay. So it's not what I'm describing. I will have a look at the logs that you posted on the GitHub issue, and I will keep you posted there.
So I just a quick question, because I haven't followed up on a GitHub ticket, but in order for me to better understand the scenario, is this so this is VP8, right?
Yes.
And this is going through the bridge. It's not peer-to-peer.
It's going through the bridge, so we make sure we both first we reproduced it on our own system, which we always force to be peer-to-peer, or sorry, to be through a bridge, even if it's just 2 participants. But also we can reproduce it with Jitsi when we are like 3 participants.
So
we're sure it's through the bridge always, yes.
And when you say your own system and Jitsi, does that mean that you're able to reproduce it with me, Jitsi?
We use libjitsi meet with our custom UI, but we use libjitsi, yes.
Right, but have you been able to reproduce it on this website?
Sorry, on the YouTube website, yes, sure. That's the thing on GitHub.
Okay, you reproduced it here.
Yes.
Okay, that's awesome. And the way you reproduce it is basically you kill a few packets so that a PLI would be sent.
Yeah.
And the issue kicks in.
Yeah, and we make sure it's screen sharing only by Sergey, are you on the call? Maybe you can fill in with the exact details of that, but basically that it's screen sharing only. We sort of haven't allowed the audio and video in the call, just to get it similar to our scenario. I'm not sure.
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Yes, we make sure that it's screen sharing only by disabling audio video devices in Chrome preferences.
That is extremely weird, but yes, the fact that it's easily reproducible is a good thing. So, and the fact that you can reproduce it on Jitsi is really cool. That means it's also our issue. So, we're going to also look into that, and we'll keep the issue updated.
Thank you.
Thanks for reporting.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else want to add something?
I was wondering if you guys are ever running into issues with running the video bridge behind a very restrictive firewall, specifically one that does packet inspection and will drop packets that are not SSL encrypted on the harvester port, the 443 or the 4443. Have you ever ran into that?
Just to be clear, I understand the question. You said running the bridge behind such a firewall, not a client? Mm-hmm. No, I'm afraid we don't do that. But so you're saying you're running the bridge behind a firewall, and then things like the stun packets fail. Wait, but how are you hoping for this to? You basically want every client to connect to this bridge over 443?
Yeah, a corporate firewall with people can only connect through very specific IP addresses and stuff like that. It's not my ideal thought of an environment, but yeah, that's a restriction that I am asked to work with.
That sounds like something that should go on an S&M site.
Yeah.
Running a bridge behind. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not too familiar with the ICE protocol itself. What I've seen is that you guys in the ICE4J implementation, you have the Google handshake where you first do 2 packets that represent the start of a TLS session, but then do unencrypted stuff anyway. Would it be possible to do a full encryption there, and what would that exactly entail?
Yeah. So the idea is that these 2 packets are supposed to fool firewalls to say, okay, this is SSL, so I don't care.
Yeah, and not too smart firewalls, but this firewall picks up on that.
Well, yeah, they just started learning this, and they're looking for this exact handshake. So the way you can go around this is if you add a turn server. And like this would mean that you would have to configure the bridge with the turn server. I don't even know if this still works. This used to be the case at one point.
But
I don't know if.
Yeah, that I thought of that. My preferred solution would be to do full encryption. Or are you saying the latency will then simply kill all quality?
No, it's just that Chrome wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that was my follow-up question. How would that work from the client perspective?
Chrome wouldn't do it, and it also doesn't make. I mean, there's obviously the fact that you're now double encrypting your packets, which I assume was the. I mean, this is an arms race, right? So it's a hack fighting a hack, and the point is that if someone mistakenly put their firewall configuration in that state without thinking too much, you want to help them, but it's not meant to keep outsmarting firewalls forever. So the official way of doing it would be you have a second server running next to the bridge. That is turn. That turn has 443 open. And in that case, Chrome would do SSL all the time because that's part of the turn standard. However, I'm not too certain whether we still support the option of running a turn server in front of the bridge because that hasn't been tested for quite a while. Does anyone have a... Is anyone waiting to venture a bet?
Is that a turn server that the client is going to connect to, or the bridge?
So how were we doing that? Yeah, I think it's the client.
Yeah, that should work. I don't see why not.
It's just to know whether we still support the configuration in the bridge. Wait.
Don't need any.
That's actually true. But no, would Jitsi Meet let you configure a turn server for that peer connection still?
I don't know.
I think we have this. I think we have kept the configuration, so we still support turn servers for the JVB connection.
Well, good. Sounds like this might be the most likely thing to succeed.
Okay, and just
did that make sense?
Yeah. Apart from the fact that using a standalone turn server will allow Chrome, as I understand you correctly, to do encryption, but over ICE it wouldn't. What's the difference there?
So what it would do is use SSL for the connection to the turn server, because that's part of the turn standard. And it would set up an SSL channel, and then it would use turn over that SSL channel. The place where it doesn't do SSL is when it does ICE TCP. In other words, it doesn't connect to a turn server, but directly to another endpoint. So this is not the turn protocol, this is the ICE protocol, and they don't support SSL, true SSL there, because it's not standard. I mean, that's not the reason. It's not that like Google are afraid of doing non-standard things, but they don't do it, and it's also not standard. So does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. I'm still a bit confused as what the exact differences are. In my head, ICE is just a way of...
Turn is a tunnel.
Yeah.
Turn works as a tunnel. So you set up your tunnel first, and then you treat that as one of your interfaces. Okay. So setting up that tunnel over SSL is something that is standard and is supported by the browsers. Now, ICE is about taking all of these interfaces and testing them, and doing that over SSL is something that is not supported. So setting up your turn setting up your turn tunnel over SSL is a feature and a thing. The other is like, I understand they sort of feel the same, so you'd expect them to work, but they're not. They're implemented differently, and it would be a little bit redundant, I guess, if you can do it over turn.
Yeah,
okay,
I'll take your word for it. In my head, ICE is a way to negotiate if you want to use turn or stun or whatever. But it's probably more complicated than that.
No, that is the thing. Except that when you talk directly to the bridge, you're not using turn.
You're using ICE, yeah.
You're always using ICE, but no, in that case, you're using what people refer to as ICE-TCP, which is direct connection to another endpoint over TCP. When you're using Turn, the bridge thinks this is a UDP candidate because it receives the packets over UDP, but your connection between yourself and the Turn server is over TCP and SSL.
Okay, I think I've got the basics. Maybe we shouldn't bore all the other participants with the exact details. Because
I don't know who would ever find ICE boring. That's fascinating.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anybody else? So we can end the live streaming.
And move to mature audiences. Okay, well.
Okay, I'm stopping here.